So meanwhile, away from United, Arsenal, of course, I mentioned, have that victory means that it will go down to the final day. City in action against Spurs, of course, on Tuesday. A win for them would see them pretty much there when it comes to crossing the finish line. Arsenal, of course, have just got one game left at home against Everton. You weren't here yesterday, Craig, but City looked so good, didn't they?
Yeah, and that's, you know, and look, they got this game against Tottenham. I mean, in terms of from Arsenal's perspective, it doesn't get much better than, I know it's Arsenal, London, Tottenham, London rivalry and all that, but you know, when you're a Tottenham player, you just go out and you're looking to play, you're looking to win. Postecoglou wants to finish the season strongly. They got a win, albeit late on against Burnley. But from Arsenal's perspective, it can't get much better from the scenario that they're in. You know, unless it was Liverpool or Aston Villa, it's Spurs. It's the next best thing. So, in that sense, there is some hope. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting City to win, but at least they're going to be a threat, you would imagine, going the other way. So that at least gives Arsenal something. But yeah, I mean, it's a perilous position from Arsenal's perspective. I expect them to beat Everton at home, but it might not matter. Look, the West Ham game, if it comes, well, it will come down to that, but who knows what the scenario will be on the final day. We know West Ham, it will be everybody behind the ball, right? Now, that sometimes can be a difficult conundrum for any team, and we've seen City struggle with that at times. So they've done that pretty as well as most teams, much to the disdain of some of the West Ham fans, and that's why they've kind of wanted what they've got as David Moyes out. But it's a difficult. I don't know. I just always feel there's the odd spanner still to go in the works, and it could be Tottenham. They might make it interesting. It's a hard one to call. I don't know.
Jan, you're obviously in England now. Are you going to the Liverpool game and then you're going to the Spurs game?
I do an end of season tour now, and I would just put in an extra scenario there. If you look at the table now, if there were to be a draw at Spurs, Spurs
Goal
City
difference.
to draw last game, goal difference in the season and you can feel that City can win 6-0 against West Ham. And there is a lot of things that can happen. But I think the best theory is as follows. They say they hope that Tottenham will have a chance to get that fourth position. I think if there is one thing in the world that Manchester City want, is that Tottenham have to go for a win. Can you imagine the space behind the Tottenham defenders? There will be mighty spaces. But I've seen most of the games of Arsenal and City live now, the last games, and you just think they won't win it. There is a difficult game, and they just turn up, do the professional job as at Craven Cottage yesterday, and as for Arsenal today at Old Trafford. They were just taking it over the line. This is two fantastic football teams, and you just get a feeling, if you put your money on something now, that the three last games of the season for Arsenal and City now together, they will all win it, won't they?
It's pretty cool, isn't it, Jules, though? Still, yet again, here in the Premier League, we're going down to the final day.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've had that between City and Liverpool a couple of times now. We obviously had it in 2012 too, between United and City. It's great to have. I think the most impressive with City in this incredible run, and Arsenal have had a great run apart from that defeat at Villa, which is costing them, obviously, right now. And the defeat on the same day for Liverpool against Palace is also costing them. It's just City's just score early. Against Luton after 2 minutes. Against Fulham yesterday after 13 minutes. Against Brighton, 17 minutes. Against Wolves the week before, 12 minutes. So when you score early like that and you're as good as City, there's just no nerves. There's no time for anyone to start being maybe a bit nervous because it's 0-0 after a half-time, after 55 minutes, 60 minutes, 65, 70, and then the clock is ticking. No, there's none of that. They score the first one, and after that, they're cruising. And they're so good at controlling games. They're so good at creating chances that once they go ahead, if you're Fulham yesterday, you knew you're going to get spanked. You knew there was no way, even at home, you could come back. They didn't even have a shot in the first half anyway. Wolves the same before, and Luton the same. And that's what City do to you. And it would be sad for Arsenal if they get 89 points and still finish second, 2 points behind City. But this is what happens when you face one of the greatest teams that we've ever seen in English football history.
Yeah, but also one that I don't want to keep going on. I don't want to go on about this again, but you have to touch
on the roof.
It's not the roof, but they really have to address the Premier League have to address these charges while a side are romping away winning the league. They do. They will not go away, right? You cannot punch in the face all the other clubs and leave these undealt with. You just can't, right? And they need to sort this, because you just can't. It just can't go from lawyer to lawyer to lawyer to lawyer. And that's nothing to do with the Man City players. They go out, they're a brilliant side, they have a brilliant manager, but this will not go away, right? On the Arsenal side, whether they win this title or whether they come up just a bit short, we cannot deny there is great progress at this club. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are 2 teams in the Premier League that are a cut above, and it's these 2. Liverpool came up a fair bit short in the end. They ran out of steam. It was more sort of off the cuff, reliant on individuals a little bit more. Yeah, they had some injuries, but Arsenal have really built a solid unit from back to front. There are some little bits and pieces that of the jigsaw that need to be addressed, but when you have all these facets of the team that are starting to be in place, the back 4, the midfield, the wide positions, the strength and depth, which can get better but has got better. Even if Arsenal come up short, as Joe said, with this amount of points, there's a lot to take from that, and there's a lot to build on. And maybe it's going to take a bit of patience till the Premier League deal with City or till Guardiola sods off. Maybe they'll just have to wait on it, because they could be the team to take over with all these young players if this City side starts to be dismantled. When some of these older players, like De Bruyne and others, and the managers start to leave, at this moment in time, unless Arsenal shoot themselves in the foot, and I think we all agree, we won't see this version of Manchester City without this manager. And we won't see this version of Liverpool without their manager. So if Arsenal are patient and don't shoot themselves in the foot, if they lose this season, they could be sat there in pole position waiting to pounce.
I don't think there's any danger of Arsenal, or certainly this Arsenal, with everybody who's in place, both on the sidelines, on the pitch, and in the boardroom, shooting themselves in the foot. When you look at this side that Arteta has built, and the youth in this side, and a side that I still think can get better. I still feel that with an out-and-out striker, they're a better version of what we've seen all season long. Arsenal are poised to maybe command the league over the next few years in a way that we kind of liken City to have done. And I think a big part of that is Mikel Arteta. I have been very critical of Mikel Arteta, certainly in the early part of the season. I feel like he's settled down a bit. I feel like he's kind of been the leader on the sidelines that the team has needed, particularly during this run-in, because let's remember how things went last season, and I feel that he too has matured. So this Arsenal team, I think, have got all, or just about all the pieces, certainly in the right place for not just next season, for a couple of years to run. And credit goes, and while we could criticise certainly Manchester United and their running of the club, the Cronkies, who'd been under a lot of pressure over the years, stuck with Arteta when he was under pressure during 2020 and 21, and now all of a sudden it's starting to pay rewards. And credit to all of them for that faith and that foresight in what they've been able to build so far.